So I wanted to do a video on how to really take players' actions and make them matter. We talked a lot about the quantum ogre, where player actions don't matter because you're going down path A, path B, there's both an encounter there. But just because I have a planned encounter doesn't mean I can't make actions truly matter even when I have a planned encounter. And so therefore, I can still give player agency to the utmost degree, but minimize my planning. So let's talk about a couple of ways that you can make player actions matter, but you don't have to do it in the moment. You can take those actions and later on bring them back. There's lots of ways to do this, and so that's kind of what this supercut is. 6 short videos that actually talk about how to take actions and make a difference in your players' and characters' world. What's the best way for you to, as a dungeon master, be able to make your players feel like they have agency? It's really simple. Make their actions matter. How you do this is pretty simple. Their actions, the scenarios they put themselves in, simply have them be able to influence what an encounter, what an endpoint looks like. The example is this. If I'm going to choose to walk through the forest versus walk down by the river, and the encounter I have planned for the people to go and do this because we're playing a game is an ogre, if they go to the forest, have it be a forest encounter. Have the players be able to navigate through the trees where the ogre finds it difficult to actually maneuver because it's difficult terrain. Look at how close the trees are, and they're not small. Using large trees allows me as the player to be able to navigate. If I go down by the river, now we're wide open in the plains. Maybe the river can be something where the ogre can drag us into and dunk us. Remember, the player's actions affect the outcome the players feel like they have agency. You can make the smallest player action have the largest impact without it making it feel like Deus Ex Machina. Like, for example, if I crush a butterfly with my elbow and then later on Mothra attacks me, right? Oh, come on, give me a break. But at the same time, if I'm kind to a peasant, and that peasant then later on becomes the captain of a guard of a local village that we come back to and they remember us, simply our act of kindness gives us favor in a major way later on. Little bitty things your players do along the way, note those down, Dungeon Masters, because 15 sessions, 3 sessions later, you can reference back. Do you remember that peasant that you were kind to a long time ago? You recognize him as the captain of the guard. And all of a sudden, welcome adventurers. Oh, it's so good to see you again. It's been years. They've been promoted. Things happen, the world changed, but that guard's memories of those players makes a difference. That makes you look like an amazing dungeon master. One little note, one little action, one big difference. What about when your players are the opposite of murder hobos? This is a big one. If your players kill everything, we know the answer. But what about when they don't? What about when they always give people the opportunity to surrender? Don't always have it come back to bite them in the ass. We as dungeon masters are like, you let someone go, they come back to kill you later. What about when you let someone go and they come back to assist the party later? We talk about our actions mattering, but we want to give our players a reason to do something. We want them to give people a reason to live, to escape, to go live a life. They let a bandit go, and later down the road, they encounter a woodcutter who's the bandit they let go, who has a family, and says, thank you very much. I'm no longer part of that life. What can I help you with? You can stay here if you'd like, right? And then we don't try to slit the party's throat in the middle of the night. Remember, actions can be both positive and negative. It's you as the dungeon master. What you give the party, what you feed the party through actions is what they will remember and how they will respond in the future. Food for thought. If you want your party, your characters to behave a certain way, you have to reward them for that behavior. If you reward them for murder hoboing, guess what they'll do? Murder hoboing. If you reward them for kindness, they'll do more kindness. Players are just like Pavlov's dog. We want the dopamine hit. Whatever we get the reward for, that's what we do. In our MMORPGs, not our TTRPGs, what are we rewarded for? Killing things and questing. So what do? We kill things and quest. So a lot of us come from that mentality. We step into TTRPGs and we want to kill things and quest. So remember, not only will people go after what they're rewarded for, we have to pay attention to what's motivated them in the beginning. So if they're rewarded by, and want, killing and questing, give them killing and questing, and then reward them for doing something that's different. Or hint at it and let them try it and then give them a big reward. And we do it again later, move them in that direction. We will chase the dopamine, but we're going to come in wanting some dopamine. If you can make the players feel like their actions affect the plot, Whether they do or don't gives the players the feeling and having fun. Now, a lot of people will say that, well, if the outcome's the same, it doesn't matter. Well, that's my entire point, is we are changing the outcome based upon the player's actions, but overall, it may not change the entire plot line. It's not like we're taking a 90-degree turn somewhere else. We're simply altering the trajectory 3%. Because remember, what your players do now has very minimal effect in the distance, in like the short term. It has a huge impact later on down the road. They insult the king, and so the king is pissed off, and he storms out of the room because the king wasn't his own kingdom. But then when the players go to the kingdom later on that the king runs, now you're in my land. However, same scenario, they compliment the king on how he runs his kingdom. Now when the players go to that kingdom's land, because now they've moved back into his area, he remembers them, and he approaches them with grace. Two different endings.